They say the devil is in the details, but in Evergreen Estates, the devil is the details. When David, an architect, and Sarah, a painter, first arrived, everything felt designed. Clean sidewalks, identical lawns, homes so symmetrical they almost looked printed. Silence so deep their footsteps felt like violations. But at first they smiled, because, perfection is seductive. The first crack appeared in the form of a gift. A welcome basket from Mr. and Mrs. Henderson next door. Cookies wrapped in wax paper. A card that read, "We're so glad you've joined the family." And two faces smiling too wide, with eyes that didn't blink. Then came the nest, left on their doorstep, woven from metal fibers and strands of red hair. Sarah's hair. It wasn't a warning, it was a message. You belong to us now. That night, Sarah dreamed of walls whispering. Not voices exactly, just intent. There was this low hum behind the drywall, watching, waiting. They tried to leave the next morning. No drama, just a suitcase and keys. But, 10 minutes down the road, the houses began to repeat. Same shutters, same lawn gnome. And when they stopped the car, they were back at their driveway, like they'd never left. The system's first lesson, there is no outside. Inside the house, Sarah snapped. She threw a jar of red paint against the living room wall. It splashed, paused. Then slowly, it absorbed into the drywall, leaving no trace. Moments later, a new painting appeared across the room. A portrait of them both, smiling, hollow-eyed. The second lesson, rebellion isn't erased, it's rewritten. David sought help. He approached a man walking his dog, a neighbor he hadn't seen before. He barely said hello when the man paled, shook his head, and vanished. His house? Gone. Replaced by a flawless green lot, as if he'd never existed. The third lesson, you are alone, connection is forbidden. That night, the house began shifting. Subtle at first. A chair slightly angled when no one touched it. The ticking of a clock growing slower, like time was dragging. And the piano. Sarah hadn't played it in weeks, but in the mirror, she saw herself there, playing, while the real her stood behind, watching. David started aligning everything compulsively. Cutlery, frames, socks and drawers. Sarah painted, then scraped, then painted again. All her canvases began to bleed into one image, a hollow house, with no doors. They stopped talking, not out of anger, but futility. One morning, a white envelope slid under the door. No handwriting, just one typed line. Congratulations, compliance is nearly complete. They didn't speak of it, they didn't cry, they just nodded, as if the message made sense. Over the next few days, things became easier, not better, just smoother. Their thoughts stopped wandering, their hands stopped trembling. Sarah no longer resisted the mirror. David no longer adjusted the frames. The house felt warmer, not welcoming, absorbing. At dinner, they chewed in rhythm. At night, they exhaled in sync with the hum in the walls. And when Sarah looked into David's eyes, she didn't see fear. She saw stillness. And then on the seventh day, she smiled, not because she wanted to, because the smile fit. In Evergreen Estates, there are no alarms, no screams, no blood on the walls, only symmetry, silence, and smiles. You don't leave, you don't resist, you don't even remember what it felt like to want something different. You simply adjust. Until one day your reflection grins back at you, and you whisper without knowing why, "What a perfect day."